Okay, so welcome to this week's call with Dr. Joseph Ahrens. My name's Jackie Boyle, and it is Testimonial Week. So it makes me extremely excited because having the ability to have people give us the honour to share their testimonial is number one. But also being able to have the power of what they're sharing in regards to what their personal experiences have been is another thing as well. So whilst we all have our own experiences with this, it is really great to have people share. But firstly, I'd like to welcome Dr. Joseph Ahrens to the call, and he is the formulator behind these amazing products. And so how are you, Dr. Ahrens?
Well, I'm just very good, Jackie. I'm really glad to be here because we talk a lot about the science. That's what I do. I'm a scientist, and all these theory about how this can help you, that can help. But this week is one of the times we get to hear from people to say, where did the rubber hit the road? What's going on? And I'm very excited to hear what people have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Ahrens, and I know I am too. There's a few of us that have been fortunate enough to be on these flavonoids for 6 years now, and it's certainly made a huge difference in being able to support the symptoms that we were initially dealing with. So it has been life-changing in that area. But I'd like to introduce Lyn McKim first to start with. If you'd like to unmute yourself, Lyn. And how are you?
Good. How are you, Jackie? Thanks for having me on the call.
Look, we're really honoured that you've agreed to do this. We've got 3 people to bring on today. And what I want to say initially to stay compliant is that we are talking about, we're not curing, healing and or mitigating any conditions here. We're merely talking about how we're able to support the body and assist the body to heal itself by managing the symptoms with either Emulin and or 24/7, and how they've been able to provide you with support. So, Lyn, I'd like to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do and what sort of conditions that you were dealing with prior to commencing with these products?
Sure, Jackie. I am basically, I've been studying nutrition and essential oils, investing in a pathway to better health because there's a lot of longevity in my family. And I figure if I'm going to live as long as I can, I want to do that as healthfully as I can. And formerly, I've run 9 marathons. So I was doing a lot of running, which is, hard on the body. But I've switched now to walking. I probably walk 25 to 30 miles a week. And what I've noticed with the flavonoids that are in this product, that when I would, with each additional decade, the body is not what it used to.
Hello.
I think you might have frozen. Has Lyn frozen, or is it just me? She's frozen? Okay.
Yes, she is.
All right, so hopefully we might be able to get her back on board. So what we might do is actually shift over to yourself, Loreena, and move in there, and we'll come back to Lyn. I think that might be. Rial, would you mind just privately messaging Lyn and just let her know that we're going to bring her in next if we can get her connection up? Would you be able to do that?
Sure, not a problem. I'll do it.
That'd be great. So, Loreena, can we unmute you and we'll start with you and bring you on board. So how are you, my friend?
Hi, Jackie. I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah. So how's retirement suiting you?
100%. Thank you.
This is one very busy lady. So I want you to share with us, Loreena, in regards to what it is that you do and what it was that you were dealing with prior to starting with these products and how it has benefited you in regards to your symptoms and where you're at now, right now today.
My journey goes back quite a few years, actually. I owned a traditional business, which had a lot of heavy lifting. I don't know if that's what created my problems, but it was in my shoulders to the point where I could not even touch the top of my head. So I had to actually cut my hair to a style that would allow me to not have to touch the top of my head. If I was to put in a ponytail, it would be on the side of my head because I couldn't reach the top of my head. So it was first my right shoulder, and I did many different things with that shoulder to get it working properly. I'm not sure what actually worked because I did so many different things, cost me thousands of dollars. And then it went from that shoulder over to this shoulder. When it was about, I don't know, 3 years ago that the flavonoids came out, and I thought this has got to be my ticket to success. So I started with 4 pills a day. I'm only 100 pounds, so I didn't need an excess large amount of them to saturate my body, but I started with 4. On the 5th day, in the shower in the morning, I realized, oh my God, I could touch the top of my head to shampoo my hair. So it was just like, almost like an elastic broke, but I didn't feel that feeling. It just was happening. So I don't know what's in these miraculous flavonoids or what they do exactly in your body, which Dr. Ahrens will be able to talk more about, but it worked for me. And I'm just so grateful to not have even little aches and pains in the top of my toe and my hip and all these little things that, as Lyn was saying, come with age. They're gone. So am I 100% pain-free? No, not every single day, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was 3 or 4 years ago.
So Loreena, I'm not sure where Dr. Ahrens has gone. Hopefully he'll venture back. He may have had to have taken that phone call. But, you know, one thing I'll say to you is that, you know, listening to what you're telling me, that if we start looking at what the flavonoids can do, what this formula is able to do in providing your body the ability to heal itself naturally. And, you know, with that support, it's the recovery. We've talked about this on Dr. Ahrens' calls before, or he has, I should say, about recovery and the importance of recovery, the importance of mobility. And this is one of these prime examples of saying, you know, introducing something that has been able to support you with the symptoms that you were dealing with, to then be able to provide you with living life better and to be able to have that mobility there. Would that be right? Am I analyzing this correctly?
Absolutely. Like I'm not even 5 feet tall, so not to be able to reach my cupboards to put my glasses and plates away and tuck in my shirt, and I even had to change my style of dressing because I couldn't tuck shirts into my pants, so I ended up wearing like sweatpants. Like it was just so life-changing what I was dealing with, and I honestly didn't think that I would ever get better, because I just didn't see any hope for me. So I just can't stress enough that don't just, like, mine happened on day 5, but don't think that yours will happen on day 5. It may take a month or 2. Like, and I mean, mine had been going on for a lot of years. Like I would say even probably 6 to 7 years that I was dealing with this. So it, like, I just thought it was my life now. That's what my life was destined to be. And what I've understood is that the longer you've had the condition, the longer it may take to unravel that onion, the peels of the onion, but that wasn't the case for me. So every body is different, and we just have to encourage and hug our customers and walk through the process with them and tell them your journey. And it's incredible what can happen with our bodies. And I mean, the more I'm in this company, I realize how our bodies are just miraculous, and they can heal themselves if you can give them the chance, basically.
Oh my goodness, I have goosebumps up and down my body, because to be able to know that what this has literally done for you has given you hope. It sounded like you were very limited in where you thought that life was going to be for you. And you are a little pocket rocket, Loreena. I knew that you're a tiny, compact, gorgeous woman, but I didn't realize you were a little tiny little pocket rocket. So reaching up to the cupboards and being able to get that mobility like that is, it's just a gift to really. And if I look at it's the missing link when we start talking about what it can provide for us. So I'm going to get Dr. Ahrens to weigh in. I know he's listening. So once he gets back, we'll get him to weigh in. But thank you so much for sharing that, Loreena, because it's going to help a lot of people to realize that the importance of introducing something like this. So thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
So Lyn, we might come back to you. Would you like to unmute yourself and see if we can try again and see how we go?
So sorry, my internet connection dropped. So I don't know how much you heard of me, but basically I ran when I did the marathons, I was in my 40s and 50s, and probably I stopped running and switched to walking in about, I don't know, well, maybe when I turned 70, I went from running into walking. And what I notice is in March, I'll turn 75, and I'm like, I have I think this product has had such an impact on my recovery and just on my overall feeling good, because unlike Loreena, it's like I've had a shoulder surgery, which was pre the product, but I had a wrist surgery recently, and with the support that the flavonoids give, I really had no pain with the recovery from my surgery. So I just think, to me, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And with each additional decade, our body doesn't work like it used to. But I'm happy to be able to say that coming up on 75, I'm not on any kind of pharmaceuticals, just nutrition and staying moving and using this amazing product.
So Lyn, I want to say to start with, I would never have thought that you were sitting at that young age, to be honest. You are an inspiration within itself, to be honest. It's a lesson to everything. If you don't use it, you lose it. This lady is a testimonial to that you have maintained your mobility, and having a health background, you've got a really, strong understanding of the importance of that. So Dr. Ahrens, were you able to listen to those testimonials at all by chance?
No, I'm really sorry. Did not hear the last ones at all. I had to take that call, but I'm sure it was fantastic.
Okay, so where Lyn's concerned, like we're looking at shoulder, wrist. This lady was running marathons and has timed that back a little bit in regards to looking at what her body's abilities are as she is going into her younger years in life. And through the support of the flavonoids, she's just finding that her recovery and her mobility has just been able to be supported with that. So is there anything that you'd like to say to Lyn in regards to that, please?
Well, it's been a long established so-called fact that we thought in the medical community that you could not rebuild cartilage. And apparently with flavonoids, specific flavonoids, you absolutely can rebuild cartilage, and you can get that lubrication back in your joints and slow down of loss of calcium from bones. We've got plenty of people that were getting ready to go into knee surgery, and on the right flavonoids, their joints actually do get rebuilt. So it's a very typical result of taking the proper flavonoids. We talk about flavonoid deficiency syndrome, and because syndrome means it covers a broad range of things like symptoms. And with the right flavonoids, you can actually rebuild your joints.
Thank you, Dr. Ahrens. And I'm going to step back to Loreena's testimonial before. So Loreena is a little pocket rocket. She's 5 foot high, and it has just recently been able to retire after a lot of years in a very mobile and a lot of, she had her own business. So there was a lot of heavy lifting, and found that her ability to be able to lift through her shoulders had been limited. And so much so that Loreena was changing what she was wearing, even changed her hairstyle, all because of the lack of mobility that Loreena had. So started taking the flavonoids, and after 5 days, this mobility, the body was able to get the support that it needed, and notice that the repair system started and the body was healing itself. So is there anything that you would like to weigh in on that? Because it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it's just fits right in that same thought process that, really what flavonoids do is they help your body be where it should be, because it just has not been recognized that flavonoids are and should be considered a vitamin. And your life processes require these compounds to act and function normally. This is not extraordinary. It's just that we found out that you need these flavonoids to support your body's systems. And it really does. A lot of the diseases that we have are the result of the lack of these vitamin-like compounds. So it doesn't cure any disease at all. It's your body that does it. It just supports your body. And anything, especially that's tied to inflammation, rebuild, and wound healing, is due to not have enough flavonoids.
Oh, it looks
Yes.
like he's gone again. So what I'd like to add to that, and I think Dr. Ron Bosima could even weigh in on this, is the importance of people's mobility. And it's not until you lose the mobility of something, especially with the important things of being able to reach up. You know, when you start looking at not being able to reach up for something in a cupboard, becomes a really dramatic change. What are your thoughts here, Dr. Ron Bosima?
Yeah, I agree. Last week, Saturday, I celebrated my youngest son's 50th birthday, and I was in the room with a great granddaughter who's 2.5, and I was on my knees on the floor, on a concrete floor, playing with a ping pong ball for a good half hour, and got up with no stiffness, no soreness, able to move about easily, because what we're doing with these flavonoids is really just putting our body to where it should be, like Dr. Joe was saying, into homeostasis. And that's balance. And if we got the right nutrients, which we have with this product that should have been in our foods and hasn't been for many, many years, the body can recover. The body can do what it's supposed to do. And that's just enjoy life and be able to. It was just so funny. This little girl's 2.5 years old, and the ping pong ball fell on the floor. So she was kind of kicking it like a soccer ball. So we were kicking it back and forth. And then she got the paddle out and she said, no, get down on your knees. So I got down on one knee. She said, no, both knees on a concrete floor at almost 79 years of age and no issues whatsoever. So it's just amazing what flavonoids can do to your body with good nutrition. And again, we've always got to say, you know, it's not an excuse for a poor diet. The poor diet's got us into the position that we're in. This is going to help us get back to the mobility. And then hopefully we wake up and say, oh, maybe if I change this, that could benefit it as well. And it does.
And I'd like to say, Dr. Ron, you know, for those that may have not had the sheer pleasure of having such an amazing friend and knowing Dr. Ron Bosima Senior, I should say, for so many years, Dr. Ron has been on this journey with Emulin for the same duration for over 6 years. So a lot of wealth of knowledge behind what this product, he's seen what it's been able to provide for people through support. So your thoughts in this really do weigh in with a lot of credibility. So I thank you. So Todd Atkins, he lives in Aussie land with me. How are you, Todd, to start with?
Today, Jackie, I'm over the moon. You could tell a little bit of a story, but I just can't believe what's happened in the last 6 days.
So Todd, just to let you know, I know Dr. Ahrens had to take that phone call, but I have sent through Todd's CT scan. So we're talking about a shoulder syndrome here. So Todd has I'll give an overview on where he's at, and I'm going to ask him some questions, but Dr. Ahrens has your report, so he'll be able to come back and weigh in on that. So Todd actually presented a CT scan and sent it down to me because he wanted me to have a look at it and then also get my husband, David, to have a look at it. So what we're dealing with is a rotator cuff syndrome. Todd has a tear, he has a spur, he has supraspinatus and going into the back of the scapula. Lack of mobility, a range of mobility was extremely poor. The suggestion being is that he was going to need to have short-term cortisone injections to lessen the pain, which is really a Band-Aid for a long-term problem. So I want to ask you, Todd, prior to where I'm going to ask further questions of you, what did that look like 10 days ago for you? Like, what was your range of mobility? Where were you at with that diagnosis?
Well, I could really relate to what Loreena was saying. I could not, as my left arm, I could not get that up to wash my hair. Not that I've got much hair, but it still needs washing. I couldn't brush it. It was just awful. If I was in bed, if I rolled onto my left side, the pain would be that excruciating, it would wake me up. And I needed help. So that's why I did go to a doctor. He sent me off to get the scan and whatever, but I didn't. He was talking shoulder reconstruction. Wanted to have this needle for, as you said to me, that was just going to be a Band-Aid. That's why I thought, well, we've got these fantastic flavonoids. So I wanted to have a chat with you and David. Now, I started off when I first started taking the flavonoids, I was on 2 a day. Now, to me, I had restless leg syndrome. So my legs used to always ache when I got into bed. So I upped it to 4. So my standard was 4. That's what I was taking before. And I don't know, I had a shoulder injury many years ago working in a hospital. I had a patient collapse on me. I was an orderly. And all of a sudden, this has just come back. I don't know how I've re-aggravated it, but it was awful.
So upon our discussions with you, like backwards and forwards with you, so that people get a very clear picture on what this man was dealing with, because the lack of mobility, not even being able to open up the computer with the one hand on the side the shoulder was that was affected, that we talked about what his mobility was. Funnily enough, on the same day, Dr. Ahrens was talking about it, we'd been speaking about posture. So even when I look across the screen here, there's many of you that are sitting like this. So as I said to Todd, well, let's start and lift you up to start with and get everybody to feel like they're a puppet on a string and pull your spine up nice and tall. And literally the easiest way I can explain it is to try and stop yourself from having a week, because it contracts all the muscles and locks your core in, so you're sitting lighter, but it makes you sit up taller. So we started talking about that to try and get his posture, because he spends a lot of time behind a computer. That helped. But we also then talked about when he's in bed, like to provide support through Pillow City. So what was that discussion, Todd? And what did you end up doing with your pillows to provide support through our discussion?
Well, to stop myself rolling, onto my left side, because that was the favoured side I used to sleep on. I actually propped a pillow behind my back so it would keep me on my right-hand side. I also had a pillow which I put under my left arm to support the arm, to take the weight off the shoulder, and a pillow between my legs. Now, I put my left leg over the right leg with a pillow in between, which kept my spine in alignment. And honestly, when I started, and we'll get into that shortly, upping the flavonoids, I started sleeping right through. But that was sort of the last 2 or 3 days.
So that I could say to everybody on this call has been a dramatic change. Like little things like that has been dramatic. But the other thing that you did was started to keep the warmth in the shoulder when you slept of a nighttime. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, that was something that David told me after his shoulder reconstruction. He said, you really need to keep the shoulder warm to help with the blood circulation. So I was a guy that just slept in the jocks or my boxers, no top on. So what I've done now is I wear a nightshirt to bed now. So just to keep that warmth in the shoulder.
Okay, so Todd, let's get to the nuts and bolts of this, because let's talk about mobility. And can you please tell me what your mobility was like prior to the discussion that you had with David? Like, can you let me know where you're at with that?
Well, this is my right hand at the moment. I couldn't go like that or put my left arm up like that. There's no way in the world I could do that, or do that with my arm like that. Now, I couldn't pick up, we have a thing in here that whoever cooks doesn't wash up. I don't cook much, so I got to wash it up. I could not pick it, again, right hand, I could not pick a plate up, just the weight of a plate, and put it in the cupboard above my head. Could not do it. Couldn't brush my hair, couldn't wash my hair with my left hand. So the mobility in the shoulder was next to nothing. Now, David, after speaking with David, he gave me some little exercises to do, which was keep your elbows and arms sort of straight and climb up. Now, this is my left arm going up and my right arm going up. Now, 5-6 days ago, I could not do that.
Just
Could not
amazing.
do that. That is my left arm.
Yeah.
Yes, can I feel that? Yes, I can. But I've got the movement there, and which I didn't have.
Can I jump in here, Jackie?
Yes, Loreena, please do.
Todd, your story sounded so much like mine, except for the doctor never talked reconstruction surgery, but he wanted to open me up to fix the tendons and whatever else was ripped in there. And I chose not to do that. And wow, like me too. It's not 100%, but holy, it feels so good to be able to do that. Congratulations, Todd.
And you too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Loreena. So Todd, bouncing back to you, so if we just recap, so between having a CT, having limited mobility, you then, after discussions, you decided to go into Pillow City and get the support through there, which I don't say that lightly. It sounds a bit funny, but the support when you're asleep is really important if you've got something that you're dealing with. You've got, went through, I found it quite funny listening on the outside because David had him on a Zoom call. So he was going through, took his shirt off. So he's there showing what he needed to do. And Todd's going, oh, I'm not going to look like that. Well, it wasn't about that. It was really about the mobility. And so David sent him down got some TheraBand. So we're going to send Todd up stuff like that to further his rehab to get more mobility going. But the other interesting thing, and I've spoken to Dr. Ahrens about that too, was that we decided to look at what 6-day experience would be like on Emulant. And we did this because of what Todd's situation was, to see what saturation would look like. So what did you do, Todd, with the saturation on the 6 days?
Well, on my normal dose was 4 a day, 2 a day. So on the Saturday, I upped it to 6. The Sunday, I upped it to 8. Monday was 10. Tuesday was 12. Wednesday was 14 and 16 yesterday. And look, I can't say enough of how much this has helped me. I honestly thought that, listening to doctors, and that's what, shoulder reconstructions and things like this. And I thought, well, if I could find another way, and if someone had said to me 10 years ago that I'd be taking flavonoids, I would have said, you're an idiot. What are flavonoids? I knew nothing about this till I met you and Dr. Joe, and came to this company. To me, I would never, ever be without this product again, ever.
So to cap it, so I can then hand it over to Dr. Ahrens, is that we start looking at, it's a combination of what Dr. Ahrens has been talking about week in, week out, is providing us with the good food that we need. It's providing us with enough sleep, having recovery, looking at getting mobile, having mobility, the importance of all of these things together, fit together like a jigsaw. And then we add these flavonoids, it's like the missing piece. So Dr. Ahrens, I'd like to invite you in to give your opinion, because you've got Todd's report and you've heard what he's done. And this has really just been over a 2-week period. Is that correct, Todd?
Well, it's actually started at the uptake of the flavonoids was 6 days.
But your exercises and your change in your posture?
The posture and the exercises were probably another week. So just on 2 weeks, but it was when I upped the flavonoids and did that, that big dose. And, it takes a little bit to get, for a person that doesn't take capsules very often, all I do now all the time, but to go to take 16 in one day, it takes a bit of getting through, but I can assure you it was well worth it. I just can't say enough of it.
So Dr. Ahrens, thank you, Todd. I'll ask you to give your opinion, please. You're muted. Sorry, Dr. Ahrens, I muted you when you're away.
So this is a remarkable case, but actually it's not that unusual. I had a real similar experience. I thought I might want to be a sports jock when I was real young and did a lot of crazy things. I remember one time, it was my early 20s, playing American football without pads. So I guess it's a little bit like Australian rules football, except there were no rules whatsoever. And I lined up across the line with my uncle, who's actually only 6 years older than me, and he's a doctor. And we just were not going to let one of us win over the other. And I broke my shoulder, and it was really rough. And I got, healed. I went to a medical doctor and all that stuff. And then it came back with a vengeance just a few years ago. And it was just like Todd describes. And I was just had tears in my eyes, from the pain, if you know what that means, Jackie, having tears in your eyes from tremendous pain. And I could not get comfortable. There was no way, so I couldn't sleep. And I got also some of the same advice from people that knew more than I did about how to position yourself. I actually got one of these body pillows to lay on my side to keep me mobile. And then, somebody said to me, "Doctor, heal yourself." And I said, yeah, I guess I ought to pay attention to myself. And I started saturating myself with these flavonoids, and instead of 6 or whatever, up to 8, 12. And I just recovered. Imagine that. And then once you recover, Todd, this is what's really great about it. Once you do have the mobility, then your blood flow and oxygenating those tissues increases. So we get locked down. You can't move, and then you're not oxygenated, and you just go in a spiral downward. Once you can get some mobility and flexibility back, and then you get better increased blood flow, and then it's a spiral upwards. And so, yes, these flavonoids are needed for normal human healing. And this is a great story. And people, you got to spread this word. This is my mission in life. I've had all these accolades all my life. Don't need any more of those. I just want people to take Emlyn and find out about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Ahrens. And I guess what I wanted to cap off on this was with Todd doing the saturation. I did tell Dr. Ahrens, and it's a very short testimonial, was that I've done the same. I'm on day 6 today. So exactly the same regime to try out what saturation looked like, even though I'm on 12 a day anyway. So I increased 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 is today. And the interesting thing was that I had broken out in a really bad rash. I don't know if it was from the masks or what it was, but I wasn't happy. I'm vain. I'm a woman. So I was not impressed at all. And I couldn't get anything to stop it. So I started saturation. I'm on day 6 today. It's gone. There's very little makeup on here, and it's just totally gone. So my body has been given what it's needed to be able to heal itself. And it's been amazing. So Dr. Ahrens, there's one question I do want to ask you, because I want your opinion on this. We've saturated, and for those that do choose to do a saturated dose of these flavonoids for a short span in time like this, what's your opinion on resuming back to a normal dose? Like, would you gradually suggest to drop it back in the same manner, or would it be okay to halve it the next day and then go back to your normal dose on day 2? What's your thoughts there, please?
Well, I think that people ought to go back gradually, because really what happens in your body is you get all these microflora into your stomach, and that's actually who you're feeding. And then they in turn make other chemicals that are good for us. And so you don't want to just cut off. They'll say, "What's going on?" And you could have some digestive upset. So I would cut back slowly, just like what you got on when you went up, and then go back down. When people eat stuff and they say, "Oh," unless it's just food poisoning, when they eat different things and I got a tummy ache, actually they bothered the microflora in their stomach, and they're the ones that are reacting, and they're the ones that produce all these gas bubbles and stuff, not you. So go slow when you change like that. Go back down, find that level where after you get through with addressing your issue where you're comfortable. Everybody has a little bit different bioavailability based on the pH of their blood, the pH of their stomachs, the actual membranes on their cells. Everyone has a little bit different absorption. But like you, what's very interesting is when you do have an excess that your internal body can't use, it does flood to your skin. and it will improve the health of your skin. It will be less wrinkles even. It helps the elastin underneath your skin and any of the blemishes that you're talking about. In fact, there's a lot of people that report when they take a lot of Emulin, they don't even get sunburn. And we're actually looking at a product, we have looked in the past at a product that you could take and it would prevent a lot of the UV damage in your skin. So yeah, this all makes sense. Spread the word.
Thanks, Dr. Ahrens. So I guess the big thing is I really want to first and primarily thank Lyn. Thank you so much, and Loreena and Todd for sharing your personal stories. And please share this because it really is amazing. Try it for yourself, because the saturation, I found it quite interesting doing the 6-day experience with Emulin, because I really wanted to see what these flavonoids could do for my body. And it's been a very rewarding process to do so. Regardless of what dosage that you take, it's not going to hurt your body to create disease, to shock it, and then go back to what you normally would take. So it's not just the other products we have sitting underneath the banner. Try this yourself. You'll be really amazed. So I want to thank our guests today for sharing their testimonials, because
Jackie, may I say something else?
is important. Spread it out. Yeah, no, go, Lyn. I think your internet's just not quite good. Not very
Can
good.
you hear me now? I just
Yeah.
wanted to say, when I was running back in 2012, I can relate to the shoulder thing as well, because I tripped on a tree root and launched myself into the air and came down on my right shoulder and fractured my humerus in 4 places. So I did have to have surgery. But I have full mobility. I have no compromised mobility. And I'm sure that, like I said, at my ever increasing age, the flavonoids are helping my whole entire body.
Wow. Thank you, Lyn. So I guess really everybody needs to learn to sit up tall when they're on their Zoom calls, get your posture right. And how many of you can do this? Try and get that mobility going. Put your hands in the air like you just don't care. So thank you so much, Dr. Ahrens. I just want to thank you, because I smile from ear to ear when I talk about this product, because it's been a game changer for myself and for many of us on this call. I can't thank you enough. And so I always want to stand on the top of a mountain and just scream it out to everybody. Just try it, because it's a phenomenal product. Dr. Ron Senior, thank you so much for weighing in while Dr. Ahrens was away. We really appreciate your input too, because I know it comes from a place of knowledge, but also passion as well. And please make sure that you touch base with us, because we'd like others to share their testimonial in 4 weeks' time. So on behalf of Dr. Ahrens and myself, thank you so much for joining us today. And for those that do look at this and have a look at this later on, we appreciate that too. So thank you so much, and have a great day and a great weekend, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.